1988. City and Science Museum officials plan to announce next week that they will open the site to the public as they begin digging out artifacts from the site. Our reporter Mike Mulcahy has a look at why the experts are so excited about what they might find.
If you look at the site from above, where we are above by the Civic Center here, you can see near the tires, her brothel is in that area, and then just above the brothel is her residence, her little brick residence, which actually predates the brothel by at least 20 years.
The hole in the ground where they're going to put the new science museum doesn't look like much to the untrained eye, but to Jim Sazevich, a local St. Paul historian, it's his version of the Holy Grail. Under the old tires, the sand, and the broken bricks lies the foundation of Nina Clifford's house.
In 1888, she bought the last available lot on Washington Avenue, paid 3 times what she normally would for a city lot, and built her house for the equivalent, what would be the equivalent of about 10 3-bedroom houses at the time.
Clifford didn't build it to live in, she built it to house her business, prostitution, and in the process, she became a local legend.
She was the most successful businesswoman of her time. It was a man's world, and life expectancy of a brothel at that time in the 1880s was about 2 years, maximum of 2 years before the city shut them down or all the girls were sick or dead or whatever. Nina survived in this city for 50 years, a half a century, and that's why she is alive today in so many people's minds and memories, and because 50 years as a successful businesswoman.
Despite her notoriety, and this portrait reported to be, but not really, of her that hangs in the Minnesota Club, there's not much known about Nina Clifford. She was born in Canada in 1851 and died in Detroit in 1929. Her house was demolished in 1937. Now that they found what's left of the house, historians and archaeologists are hoping to learn much more.
This is a hidden part of St. Paul's history. You know, everybody knows about her and everybody's curious about her, but she didn't write a book, and there were a few people writing, a few prostitutes in general writing books about themselves or their lives.
Some of you watching might think it's inappropriate to do a story about an old house of ill repute on Good Friday, but as we began looking into this, we found out that brothels have been unearthed a block away from the White House, on the Capitol Mall in Washington, and in virtually every major city in America.
There's been a lot of sort of fun and jokes made about this, and I'm sure they will continue. But I think there's also a lot that we're going to be able to research and be able to analyze and present about the whole history of women's labor in the 19th century and what the choices were for women. And it's quite appropriate that, of course, Women's History Month is coming up, which is nice timing.
Ketz and others will begin digging out the site next week. They have a month to finish without holding up construction on the new museum. The public will be invited to watch the dig, but not to participate. The experts want to protect the artifacts, especially after the Minneapolis paper wrote there might be diamonds buried in the rubble.
People don't throw away diamonds. They throw away chicken bones after they've eaten, they throw away their broken plates, and they throw away their beer bottles after they finish drinking. So those are the kinds of artifacts that we're going to be finding, nothing of any monetary value.
The excavations may also settle once and for all the speculation about a secret tunnel connecting the brothel to the Minnesota Club.
Well, I think there's almost certainly a tunnel, just because on this east side of Hill Street, you can see where the boarded up tunnels are. We will certainly be we'll be shooting in the elevations and the relationship to the tunnel to the bordello. I think also as we go down through the bordello to the basement, and probably even there's a sub-basement, if there's a tunnel, we will expose it. There is a lot of public interest in that. I'm not sure that we'll be saying whether it connects to the Minnesota Club, because that's way beyond the scope of this project. We're just focusing on this site.
But the connections between Clifford and her customers may not be ultimately as important as the connection between this site and St. Paul's past.
You think of an archaeological site as a pyramid or some big Indian village out on an island in Minnesota. But Minneapolis and St. Paul are a big archaeological site because they're built on an older city, and the Indians have been here for 10,000 years in St. Paul. We don't find a lot of that left, but there are lots of ruins of early St. Paul right underneath the surface. Even in the most urbanized parts of the city, there are pieces of the city's past underneath it.
Tonight, a